Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to start off with some lavender planting out here in the formal flower garden. Then we're going to do some tree pruning in the Persephone garden. We've got those two locust trees that kind of sit right in the front, or I guess the back of the garden, depending on how you look at it. But they go over our lane and they are hanging pretty low. We're starting to hit them with our cars. So we need to trim the canopies up just a little bit. So those are the two main goals for today. It is 7 in the morning right now and 65 degrees. It is beautiful. The sun's just coming up. It's just coming up over the trees. It's gorgeous. It will be 93 degrees today as our high, which is not overly bad for August, but it will be nice to get this lavender project done when it's cool. So what we have here is Sweet Romance lavender. It's one of my faves. You guys know this. I planted a bunch in this formal flower garden area earlier on this season. I think it was maybe in May, might have been June. I'll have to look that up. But I wasn't able to finish the project, which is what happens when you don't properly measure the area to know how many plants you need to order. What I did was I stepped it off and eyeballed it and tried to make a guess as to how many plants I was going to need. I was 24 short. So anyway, I knew that at some point I would be able to probably get my hands on a few more plants. So it wasn't a big deal. Got my hands on those plants. Plus we're going to need to replace a few that have died as well. The interesting thing about lavender, actually about a lot of drought tolerant plants, is that they're not drought tolerant in the beginning. They need quite a lot of water to get established. And it's not until the root system is established that they are ready to not have as much water. And that is definitely the case with this lavender. They were definitely not getting enough water in the beginning, even though we ran a drip system. So we've got that brown drip tubing in here. You can kind of see it like popping up from where this boxwood is. But what happens is that these lavender plants are not spaced exactly to the emitter holes in that drip tubing, which in the end doesn't matter, because in the end the root systems will be, wide enough and established enough that the water coverage from that drip tubing will be plenty. But in the beginning, especially because we planted a lot of plugs in here that had tiny little root balls, if you don't have an emitter hole lined up exactly with that root ball, it's just not going to get enough water. And we only run this drip system every other day, so we've been supplementing on the off days, but I just don't know that we were supplementing enough in the beginning. Well, clearly we weren't. So we lost some of the lavender that weren't exactly aligned with the emitter holes in that drip tubing. It took me a second to figure out like what the pattern was and why the plants in specific spots, because I did replace a few of them earlier on and they still continued to struggle. And so then I figured out, oh, the strip tubing is just not enough in the beginning. So just something to think about. It could be different depending on your soil composition, but I have found with pretty much any plant except maybe sedum, they need quite a lot of water the first year. So you can see in here how they're looking though. This is our best quadrant. This is the one I wanted to show off. That's our worst quadrant over there because one, I left the most open holes in that space when we ran out of plants, but we also lost a few in that one. I think there's like 2 in this quadrant that we lost, like right here. So the drip tube comes along the back side of these plants and then it kind of does a swoop, and they're a tiny bit more spread apart in this area than they are on the runs. Oh, I think maybe 1, 2, looks like 3. Not horrible ratio really when you think about the amount of plants we put in here, but it's looking so gorgeous. And the amazing thing, these were tiny little plugs, like itty bitty things, and they have just exploded. And Sweet Romance is one of my favorite because one, it's got a really deep lavender colored flower, and some lavenders are very subdued in their color, and also like their bloom, the bloom themselves can be a little bit more slender, and these are a little bit more thick. These also stay more compact, like 12 to 18 inches. Ooh, the sun's coming out in force now. Yeah, 12 to 18 inches tall, 12 to 18 inches wide. They're a zone 5 through 9. I've planted so many Sweet Romance plants, but I always have to double check the size on those. But I just thought it would be the perfect size in here because they'll kind of go over the sidewalk a little bit. Like in the end, they'll reach the sidewalk or go over just a tiny bit, but they won't take up an enormous amount of space like some lavenders would. Some lavenders, get like 3 to 4 feet wide, maybe even bigger when they're established, and they take up an enormous amount of space, which means like some types of lavender I would have had to plant right here and they would have taken up all this space and we would have been left with a tiny little itty bitty planting area. Still haven't decided what I want to put in the blank spots. Honestly, I have enjoyed just the breathing space in here so much. Have also enjoyed the blue salvia. That is going to be an incredibly hard one to beat. I might have to repeat it next season. I don't know. Look at this. I mean, it's just incredible. But I do know now I have some Supertunias in there. Not a tremendous amount, but they did not win. Plain the blue salvia definitely won. So anyway, that is the order of this morning, at least for a little while. Let's plant the first one together. I'm not using the auger because all of these holes have already been dug at one point. So I brought out a little trowel just to kind of make the opening a little bigger if we need to, right here. Then let me grab my biotone. Whew. Should just be an easy, like, pop the dead one out, put the new one in, I hope. Let's do this one. I am gonna water all these lavender plants though before I do a dang thing. I don't wanna put a dry root ball down into a hole like that. I want everything to be moist to start off with. I usually do not overhead water like this either. I try to water at the root level, but I can't see the can, so not gonna matter that much. We're not doing it consistently. Okay, let's grab 3 and just get this quadrant done. Okay, so for our dead one, I'm just gonna pull that out. And you can actually even see that little blue emitter? We came along when we realized the emitters weren't lining up and added a half-gallon emitter for the plants that needed the extra. Oh yeah, that's easy digging. Nice. A little bit of starter fertilizer. The plants are beautiful. I don't think we have to rough up the roots at all. These plants came from a grower called Walla Walla Nursery out of southeastern Washington. Oh, that looks so much better. A little bit more life in that. Okay. The digging is so much easier than it was the day we planted all of these initially. The soil was so dry out here that day. I remember that. Makes it all more compacted. Gorgeous. All right, guys, so it's basically just gonna be a repeat of that a whole bunch of times. So let's just get it done. All right, guys, we got all the lavender planted. It's so wonderful to see a lavender in each spot. It's looking more complete. There are 3 more things I need to do though. The last thing I'm going to do is water them all in. But before that, I'm going to put a landscape flag next to each new plant that I put out here today, just so we know which ones are brand new. We have a couple of really hot days coming up, like over 100, and it's really important to know which plants are new versus which ones aren't. While all of these can benefit from supplemental water the whole first year, the new ones are going to need more than that. Like if you come along and give each plant a little water, you might double back and give the new ones just a little bit extra. I'm not talking a lot, but just a little bit, and it'll allow us to be able to really quickly keep an eye on the new plants just to make sure there's nothing going wrong with them. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in some 1/2 gallon per hour emitters on the plants that didn't end up getting them, which was quite a lot of them that had died. So what I did as I was planting, all of the ones that I replaced that didn't have an emitter next to them, I put the can on its side. For all of them that have the emitter, I left them upright. So like this plant right here is just going to need a landscape flag, but it won't need an emitter. This one will need a landscape flag and an emitter. And that will just help get them through the rest of the summer, making sure that at least on the day that the drip runs, they're going to get water to their root ball. And I think we should be good. I'm going to grab my kneeling pad. I already put that back away in the gator, and I'll show you how we put the emitters in. It's real easy. Okay, so this one, for example, if we get in here, we need to find the drip tube. See right there? Now, ideally, we would be able to put it in right to the side so that it was pointing right at the plant, but that's just not gonna happen. So what I'm gonna do is take my emitter, and they have this pointy side that on brown drip tubing, I shouldn't need to use a hole punch. Like if we're gonna put them in this type that's real thick, and I'd actually found 2 of them that had died that did not have brown drip tubing near them. They have the black. So they never had any water next to them. I didn't know it because it was under mulch. So anyway, we're just troubleshooting all over the place today. So like in this case, we should be able to just pop this in like that. And that will just shoot some water right at the root ball of this brand new lavender plant. And then I'm just gonna pop in a landscape flag, and hopefully I can get them down low so we don't have to see them really bright. I'm gonna save all the red ones, or orange, whatever color that is, for the furthest quadrant away from the lane. So this step won't take very long. I'm just gonna run through and I'll pick up all of the extra containers and do all of that business, get them all kind of tucked in the way they need to be, and then I'll come through with the hose and water them all in. It didn't take very long at all. Like to plant all of these, I wanna say it took like 45 minutes, maybe? Pretty nice when most of the holes were already pre-dug. The 4 or 5, I guess, swoops that I didn't have plants enough for, those were not pre-dug. So I used the trowel and it wasn't too bad. Okay, so let's get this finished up. To make 1 drip line repair. Pretty good. All right, it is all done. We got all of them planted, watered in, flagged, emitters installed, except for this one right here that I discovered when we were watering. Thankfully, this one does not need an emitter, so I'll run and grab a flag for that one. There's always one thing. There's always one. It doesn't matter how thorough I think I'm being, I always miss one. It seems like. But now I think it's going to be so much easier because you know, on the days that the drip system runs, I know that the existing lavender that was here is getting water on those days. And we can easily come out here and look at the flagged ones and finger test around to make sure that they don't need any supplemental that day. We don't have to go around and check all of them or wonder which ones are new versus which ones are old, because some of the older ones are actually smaller than the newer ones. Let me find an example. Okay, right here. So these two are new today, but the one in the middle was already here. So it would be really easy to think that's a new one, when that one probably doesn't need as much supplemental water as these do. So anyway, it'll be easier to distinguish. And I anticipate just leaving the flags in for 2 to 3 weeks or something like that until we're kind of past the worst of the heat and kind of past that first transition phase. Anyway, one big project checked off the list. Now we can head up to the locust trees in the Persephone garden. Here we are underneath the locust trees. Aaron is on his way around with the pickup. I think one of us is going to stand in the back so we don't have to drag a ladder around. I think we're just going to try to shave up as much as we can, which means like this branch right here might need to come out right here because all of that is pretty low. And then if you keep going, like this right here is where the truck goes. And you can see that it's taller than I am, but definitely the truck hits it. And then all of these as well. There he is. What's that? I feel like you should start on the leyland. Oh, you want me to trim some leyland out?
Well, you should just stand in the back of the truck and see what you think.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to take after this leyland cypress a little bit too, whatever I can reach. Nice part about this project though, all I need is my pruners and my loppers. So I've got a pair of loppers right here and my pruners somewhere around here. Somewhere. There we go. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this, so much better. And we just discovered we must have lost this branch in a... Is it gonna come out?
Yeah.
I think we must have lost it in a storm. We just didn't realize it. It's because it's all snagged up in the tree. You can see the end of it right there. I don't know, Aaron.
It's coming.
Is it?
Yep.
It's forked up there. Oh, here it comes. Oh, look at that thing. Oh, so much better. So much better, Aaron. I wonder, let me look at this thing. It's interesting to see if you can spot any borer damage or anything, but it looks clean. Looks clean, Aaron.
Maybe we can chop it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was so much better than using a ladder, you guys. My goodness. Oh, that would have taken me so much longer. So we got this whole little alleyway done, And most of it I was able to get into the bed of the truck. We only had to pick up a few branches along the way. So now we can take this out to the Dirtlands and get it all unloaded. Oh, I love it. Turn on the AC. Oh, this is the one that's broken. No!
You can't get your finger in there?
Not really. It's kind of
Something you can
sharp.
poke it with?
Oh, there we go. Got it. My pinky worked. Oh, I can show everybody the roof of the pole barn.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can only really see it from a distance though, huh? Yeah, it looks like they've got it pretty much done, the roof. Take a look at the lane now. Oh, nice and opened up. I wasn't anticipating cutting on the Leyland cypress at all, but I did end up taking out two kind of larger branches, and it does look a little bit better. Not as obvious as the locust for sure, because they had so many branches that were just dangling down. And then Aaron was able to reach all of the little ones right in here and kind of over the Persephone statue that were hanging down as well. But it just looks so much better. And this tree, you guys, is the one that Aaron bolted together after it cracked in half in a storm. You can see the big bolts right up there, and then that wire cable holding it together. And then it was bolted right here all the way through to this side right there. And the tree is kind of growing over it a bit, but you might remember the tree just split down the center, and it's not looking the best. Like the tree, especially if you stand back. Now we're not sure if these are just two different varieties, because there is a sunburst honey locust that has much more of a yellow appearance. And then this might be a different one, a Shade Master, that's just a bit more deep green. But that would be weird that somebody would plant two different varieties side by side in a formal setting like this. So we're thinking it's probably just stress. It kind of looks like the one that we ended up having to take out by the kitchen entrance. Every year it just got more and more and more yellow, and come to find out it did have heart rot. So I'm thankful that this one is nowhere near the house. It's not going to fall down and damage anything. It's pretty open out here, and it just kind of has a yellow cast to it. There are spots that look a little bit healthier, so I don't know about this one. We'll see. I've always been a huge fan of this look right here though. Even though everything's off center, it's not balanced in this area, I just like it. It's very peaceful up here. Okay, I think I'm done with projects for the day, but I did notice that they are about done with the roof on the pole barn. So I'm gonna see if I can get it in a position to where we can see it. It's so high up in the air that you have to be back quite a ways to see the top of it. All right, so we're on the other side of the Dirtlands, the opposite side of the pole barn. And as we approach, you can see the black metal roof over there. Not quite done. It looks like they've got about 3 or 4 feet on the right-hand side that needs to be finished up. See if we can get closer and still see it. Yeah, look at that. If I get any closer to it, it gets harder to see, but it's just so exciting to see that part be done. They've got the black metal flashing right below the roof, and then it will be wrapped on the west side, the back, so the south side, and then the east side with a charcoal gray metal siding. And then this is the open side, of course. You can go take a look inside. I guess you can still, well, no, you really can't see it. Just the flashing. Oh my gosh, I do not envy them working in this. Remember this, you guys? Look at this. Oh, this is like the whole first and second year of the cut flower garden. Yeah, look at it in here. Wow. This is just so great. And plenty of room back behind for an evergreen hedge. But you can see our neighbor's house. They're using this side to, park their trailers and their wood pile. They've got a little row of stuff kind of blocking this from their view. But we'll plant, I think we'll either carry on with the hedge right where it's at, or we'll take these two up and plant something right in the center down this way. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Quite a bit of space though. And then the interior floor of this will be gravel, and it'll be graveled out to probably just beyond those stacks of pallets. So it'll just be a nice gravel base out here, covering all of this powder up. And then about, I don't know, about like right in here or so, over, it'll start being flower bed again. So all of this stuff will be gone. We'll clean up this whole area, we'll mulch it, and we can start planting. Anyway, just thought you guys might like an update on how this is going. So exciting. It's just like they get a step done and then you have to have the inspector come. So you have to wait a week for him to show up. And you know, just like steps like that, it's a process for sure, or this has been at least. But bright side, it will be done before winter and we'll be able to put our wood pile in there. We'll have a covered spot to put the tractors and that sort of thing. And that will be so incredibly nice. I can't wait. And you guys, that is going to do it for our projects for today. I just love seeing things like the lavender project button up. I wasn't sure if that was something that we were going to be able to do this year because I didn't know if we would be able to find any more Sweet Romance lavender. Sometimes when you get late in the season, and if you're going after a popular variety, which that one is, it can be a little bit dicey to get your hands on some sometimes, but we were able to do it. I have a few left over in the high tunnel that I will be babying just in case any of these don't take. But since they're flagged, it's going to be really easy for us to keep our eye on them. I'm going to be checking on them 2 times a day here for at least the next week, 10 days because of our heat. And they might even need a little bit both times to check on them. We'll see. But it's just one of those things that you wouldn't think needs a lot of water in the beginning. It's like that with rosemary too. You know, people talk about how drought tolerant rosemary is. Well, every time I have rosemary, we can't have it in the ground. We have to have it in pots, but I have to water it every single day in pots. I can't skip a day, even if I have it in my house when it's cold outside and it's cool inside. Like, I just find that it dries out super fast and gets brown needles unless I water it quite a lot. And that probably comes from us living in such a dry climate. Like, I wonder what the humidity is right now and what the temperature is. So we started off at what, 65 degrees this morning. It's 84 at this point, so not super bad. Our humidity level is 21% right now, which is kind of high. Usually it's like 13, 14%. It's pretty darn dry, which is nice for some things and, you know, not nice for others, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and we will see you in the next one. Bye.